Aries, welcome back for your mid-month reading. Those of you who are new, a very warm welcome, and those of you who are coming over from YILDIZ readings, welcome over. Now, if you're wanting to make a booking, you can go to the link directly below. And if you want to know a little bit about me, I'm a twin flame and I'm a psychic medium. So if you do feel you have any blocks and you're working through them, which we do throughout the journey, feel free to make a booking and we can tune into what potentially be it you're in communication with your twin or you're not, how you're working through those blocks, you know, if you've got any conflict with it, maybe in a sense of perspective of download you're having, you want clarification that that is actually relevant and it's not just all in your head. Come through and make a booking and I will work with you through those. Now, for the energy of what's coming through for you, as for the aspects of the astrology, I will add directly to the live sessions that I do on this channel. So I'll come to you live with any psychic downloads I have, and I will generally connect the dots in with the astrology as well to give you any updates and foresight that I have. And I do give away free readings during the month on both channels, so subscribe to both and you will be in the running for winning a free 1-hour Skype session. Now, the first card that you've got coming through, now I've pulled chakra cards for both sides, with you being the twin and for counterpart. I've also pulled cards in relation to perhaps what you're going to learn, what can be karmic blocks or energies that you're succeeding in, and the overall energy between the two of you. Now, Aries, you guys are coming through more with an energy, knowing that in the past perhaps you needed to work as a team. Also having the desire to fill that potentially in the past moving forward. Your twin also is hoping that there is going to be a just choice in relation to how to proceed forward. And it's interesting because your first card being in the chakra position is choices. So this can be, you know, what you're passionate towards, which way you are going to move towards. And I feel your twin, interestingly enough, is in the same mindset, but they're actually not realizing an aspect of the power that they're having. They're resisting temptation, okay? They're like, whoa, hold up. Until we can see that there is a cemented foundation as to what way we're proceeding, your counterpart isn't wanting to invest. So if their energy is coming across as slightly distorted, it's because energetically or at a 3D level, perhaps you haven't really honed in on what way you know how to go. And this doesn't have to be your fault. It can be physically for the 3D nature of what's transpiring. So it both is about choices and it both is about how to invest. You're just doing it in a very different way. However, your counterpart's energy has power and perhaps they do realize that, but they're just choosing not to be tempted into the circular motion of things. Now, you're coming into the month realizing that you have power, realizing you have choices, but you also do need to work part of a team and you're trying to decipher the code between what is and what isn't. Now, your counterpart is waiting for this balance to come through, where they're trying to be understanding, but at the same time, they're doing the work on themselves. You may be really working very hard at the moment to try and find this solution, to try and find what you need to do. You might have gone above and beyond, perhaps to prove your point. But again, you know, your free will does come down to what you feel spiritually correct. Now, whatever is divinely guided will always end up being so. So we have two ways we can do things. We can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. But if it's destined, it's always going to end up being back to where you need to be to purge and learn an aspect of your journey. And I'm going to pull a clarifier on that. Only because I feel that is a blocking point, but a growing point at the same time. Okay, I'll take them. It's kind of an oxymoron between what you love and what you don't. What are you invested in and what you're not, which is interesting because we're in the position of choices. Having a realization of this, and yes, it's free will. Yeah, you can do things the hard way or you can do things that make you feel good. Now, as for your counterpart's energy, now, they're like, do I stay, do I go? And strangely enough, that was the first song that came to mind. Do I stay or do I go? This is your counterpart's energy, and it's only due to the frequency of what they're tuning in from you. Now, energetically, we're both tuned in directly to each other, so we tend to feel very energetically about certain things going on, be it we're in communication or not. We always have that instinctual feeling, because it's a very 5D connection that our trigger points and our turning points, and especially all the way through to March. I always did say this, especially at YILDIZ readings, I was saying that there were turning points where communication may come through mid-December. From there would be a transformative state where if communication was coming through and movement was coming through, it was happening anywhere between mid-December and March. Now, regardless of whether you have or haven't had communication, don't get triggered, number one. Number two is it depends on the way between you are and the work you've actually done on yourself. Now, it's never negative if you have no contact from twin. It just means that, you know, a way to fast track the journey is to directly look at where spiritually your blocks are happening around you and directly deal with them to fast track the journey. So what happens is twins' energy transmutes through other people. It can be through your family, your co-workers. If you have a healthy yes and no boundary, you're on track. If you have a sense of self-love and a sense of will towards your passionate goals and dreams, you're in balance in that energy. If you are balancing your masculine and your feminine, you're more likely to be the crowd that's going through to the next level, which will gain communication. Now, even when you do gain communication, a lot of us are saying, what's union? Union definitely is the aspect where you're always invested in yourself and your spiritual growth and your movement forward. Union with twin does come from you committing through better or worse, a bit like a 5D marriage, that regardless of you being with them or not, you're in union with yourself and you're in union with them. When they come into duality with themselves, it's a more flowing energy, and you will receptively know, because if you're in that codependent frequency and you're feeling a lack within, 9 times out of 10, twin is going to transmute that frequency to you like a codependent energy. So if you can have that realization and you can do the work, you can fast track your journey. It will directly impact your twins' frequency as well. Now, they're really going off their instincts, although they do have divine choice, right? So some things may not be completely shown, but in a chakra sense, what are they passionate about? What way do they wish to go, especially in a sense of what's pleasure, what's pain? It's physical choice. Now, they can make this as easy or as hard on themselves as want be, if that even makes sense. The same scenario goes for your side, because we are duality, so both energies will be relevant to both sides. At some point, you might have already purged that factor and known this factor, so you're ahead of the game. Okay, it can be that they're really focused on finances, and, you know, they know that whatever they put in is what they're going to get out, which is very healthy, because it does mean they know they can make this as hard or as easy as possible, but they've got to make correct choices in order to move forward. They're working very hard. They're trying to get back to that more grounded frequency when they're directly dealing with you and other people, so they're doing the work on themselves to come to that point. But they also feel like they have lost things in order to gain what is coming through. And they know in order to move forward towards you, they're going to have to leave some crap behind, which is what we all have to do through the journey. Now, again, this can be coming through in your life as well, especially if people around you are very much mirroring how you used to be with your twin. You know, however, what wave twin you are, it's still the same scenario. That will still be coming through with you. Now, where counterpart's energy is very much romanticizing the past, looking at perhaps different choices they could have made and which cup to pick, and maybe even getting to a point they're resisting temptation with twin, because twin is very tempting, but really trying to use their head over their heart, which is similar to what Aries is doing. Wanting something that's going to last the distance, questioning what union is. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the month, union does come from you not quitting on the journey as per se, and understanding it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. We wish it did. Many have been on the journey many years, and it's never get triggered by the time frame a person's been on the journey, because that can really, and it was literally when I said that, it was 10:10. Don't get triggered by that, because your journey is not the same as another's. What your path was prior to coming here is very different to another's. What you believe is divine union will be very unique to your personal growth and needs, and who you have become each step of the way. You do have a very deep innocence about you, and always hold that dearly, because you do know that when you invest wholeheartedly. But you, in that frequency of maybe trying to temper the temptation, you need to understand that temptation is within you as well. That it isn't actually about twin. Everything we hold inside ourselves, in a sense of what we deem as a lower frequency, is an aspect of the yin and yang. So when we do look at our twin, the direct attraction that we hold can be something that we have as a lack within ourselves. So it may be that they were fancy free, or that they were fun loving or easygoing and playful, and perhaps we were more strict on ourselves than they were. Having that and incorporating that into our life can help us actually amalgamate that. And then when we have that, we're in duality. Now, the lesson that you're going to learn, in a sense, in the next 2 weeks is that whatever's going down, especially with the in-between cards, is very interesting. Now, theirs is bringing something to form. Knowing that twin can actually, the Aries, whatever path they choose, it's up to them to put the work in to get the best out of the situation. But only they, on their side of the fence, have the power to do this. Okay, so some aspects of power are going to be taken from them to use their choice-based system, right? In between what they're passionate about and what they're not. And this is probably why you're taking the temptation away, to help them feel that pain body. Move through the pain body. And when I say pain body usually is that egoic sense of what blocks us in each chakra. When they can move beyond that point and know they do have direct power, and this goes on both sides of the fence, when we know that we're not going to get triggered by what happened in the past with the journey. We're going to assess what we see at a 3D nature in front of us. We're going to intuitively go with it with our third eye. We're going to come from the heart chakra, and then we're going to use our passion core sense to alchemize the whole situation together. If we can do that and allow that to transform, it's going to give this situation the best possible outcome it can be. But I do feel you guys both spiritually, be it you've been in communication or you haven't been, you've been communicating that from the 5D. And it's really where your energy senses is, you know, your counterpart really isn't wanting to manipulate it. And both ways, you're realizing you have choices to make. You're really at that crossroad at the moment. But twin is knowing that for Aries, for them to move forward, it's going to be them to put the work in and to make that choice for them spiritually. And it goes both sides. For you, it's going to be the shock of the new. Adjusting to that factor of not leading to lead. And it might be for you tapping more into your feminine energy counterpart, being in your energy, not in your pain body. If you're in your pain body, it means you're getting triggered. If you're getting triggered, key point, the egoic point in each chakra where it's coming from. It might be from your passion, especially from your chakra point of view, your temptations, getting that imbalanced again. It doesn't mean to say when we are reaching the other 12 chakras that we aren't utilizing the other chakras. It can be blockages coming up to be realized, especially with all the work we did in 2018 to move it forward. But the new of what's coming, it's more the new you, and being comfortable with the new you of what your needs, wants, desires, and the control you're holding within yourself. But don't taper that too much, because some of that aspect of your manifestations can come from the other chakras, where we do need to understand we all have choices. Now, between you, the crowning energy, death. Okay, something is going so the new can be replaced. You're letting go of the past. Letting go. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Be in the frequency. Definitely with your counterpart, they're doing that. Definitely with you, you know that whatever choice you make, Aries, there's always a consequence for an action. Okay, good and bad. But whatever is destined to be, you can make a choice that is positive or negative, or from our pain body experience of what our ego is telling us to do over what we really want to do, you still end up at the same place. The choice is, do you want a nice journey or do you want a difficult journey? But ultimately speaking, if it's destined, you're still going to end up at that same location. So we can have a toxic journey, or we can have a wonderful, harmonious journey. But whatever work you have to put in to make it through, it may be you need to walk through the more harsher energies to get this, to get to that. It may be you're going to completely walk away from that in order to just hold this frequency here. Okay? Don't be too critical on either one of you. You know, yes, okay, in a sense, cast a critical eye, but don't stay in that frequency like it's a so, because when we deem that, we manifest that. Love and light, and I'll see you during the months.